unfortunately, after 2 years of fighting, trying to fight against this thing that my boy's got, well, it's longer than 2 years, but to the vet, away from the vet, to the vet, away from the vet, him generally being uncomfortable, like he's never really got uncomfortable since it started. And although I've had hope in my heart that things will improve, they never have really. It's just been up and down. So he's still got a lot of energy, and someone could think, well, why would you let your dog go when he's still got a lot of energy? Well, right now you're seeing him like in a good mode, like in a good... Sorry, let me just pass these people. So although he's energetic right now, when he's laying down, he's constantly licking, he's constantly suffering with his ears, he's constantly whining. I wouldn't say constantly whining, but it's enough to make you feel like there's something not quite right. And the vets have always just said that he might have an allergy, he might have a skin allergy, but no, after researching Google, a lot of time you have to go and do your own research. After they gave me a diagnosis that he's got a megacolon and that he's got some aging in his spine as well. After the diagnosis of him having a megacolon, which I didn't know what it was at the time, I did some research on Google and got as much information as I possibly could to find out what that actually means. And a megacolon can cause a lot of inflammation in the body, and it can be a symptom of an underlying cause like irritable bowel syndrome. And so although the vets have been saying, oh, he might have a skin allergy, for 2 years he's been on and off antibiotics. He's never ever come off the steroids, and he constantly gets these, I don't know if you can see, hang on, stay there boy, I don't know if you can see that on his ear, that constantly gets them over his body. And I've been cleaning his ears out 3 times a day, so no, I don't think it's a skin allergy. And also moving around his diet to find out what's wrong with his diet. So my conclusion is, with the megacolon, that he's probably got irritable bowel, and it's not curable, and it inflames and then goes down. You think, you know, I've been like, shouldn't I? You know, he looks quite energetic, and I've been so tied up because I don't want to let him go. Do you know what I mean? But I finally came to the conclusion that it's best for him. He's been going through it physically, and I've been going through it emotionally for the last more than 2 years, really. So we're now on the way to the vet for his last day, and we're just going to go and play in the park with the ball because he loves his ball. And I just want to send him off with his ball in his mouth, basically, because he is a lover of his ball. And I've gone through everything. I know my house is going to feel empty, even though I've still got Bella. But he was the biggest personality, you know. He sort of filled the house up. So it's going to be tough for me, really, for a little while. But I'm just thinking about my dog, and I can't keep watching him going through this irritation and this discomfort and nobody really knowing how to solve it, because I can't even say how many times I've gone to the vet over the last 2 years, multiple times, and no one's really come up with anything to end his misery. So my own belief system allows me to view it as a positive thing to send him off, because I believe that he will be going to a better place, and he will no longer have this suffering as well. So although I am going to miss him and I feel gutted and I know I'm going to be lonely for a little while, it's going to be a quiet house, man, because Bella was really quiet. I know it's for the best for him, so that's why I'm doing it. I don't know if you can see how skinny my boy is in comparison to what he used to be. When it first happened, right, he never ever got back to a normal weight. So he was like 22 kg and now he's 16. And no matter how many times I feed him, if I feed him too much, he'll have diarrhea. These are some of the symptoms. So I started feeding him twice a day, and he still wasn't putting on the weight. So it does seem like irritable bowel, because with irritable bowel, apparently the dog may not absorb nutrients. The other thing I wanted to say, right now, I'm not saying it's true, I'm just going by my experiences, because megacolon is quite a rare thing apparently. When he was a baby, I used to give him rawhide to chew on, and I don't know, because he's a short dog, I mean, look, if you look at his size here, lengthwise he's quite short. I don't know whether the megacolon was developed through giving him rawhide, bones. Not every dog, hang on a second, not every dog can cope with that kind of stuff with their digestive system. I'm only guessing, right, just to give you an idea, just in case you have any similar symptoms, that it might have started when he was a baby, and then he might have been prone to it, because I think a dog is prone to it, and then developed over a course of time and then got worse, because this started about 2 years ago and he's just turned 9. The boy's just turned, walk on. He's going to poo. Let's get him over here. That's a much better place. Good boy. If you're going to poo, do it on the grass. So anyway, we've come to the park, because this is going to be his last run, to give him his favourite activity, which is running after the ball. So he's just going to it's an hour before the horrible moment, so we're just going to chill out here, and I'm going to throw his ball for him. It's a bit sunny, so I'm leaving it to the last minute, just that his last memory can be his beloved ball, you know. Yeah, it's not a nice day for me today. 24th of July 2026. I've had to let my dog go. Undiagnosed, by the way, but my thoughts are that he's got irritable bowel, and I know that he's got a megacolon because they diagnose that. And it's never ever let him free. It's never let go of him ever since this thing started. True boy, good boy. In it, baby. You can see around his eyes where he's got all those. Can you see around his eyes as well? Constant lesions, constant. These are old lesions at the back there. Poor thing's been going through it for 2.5 years, roughly 2.5 years, and I've just been pushing it and then thinking, what should I do? You know, I mean, it's so difficult when you love your dog to make a decision, but the final decision came really in short notice for me, because I thought to myself, I just had to weigh it up, and I thought to myself, look, what would I do if I was a human being and I had the right of euthanasia? If I had the right of it, what would I do for myself if I was in constant discomfort all my life? What would I do? And that's how I managed to make my decision with my dog, basically. So this is the final day for me with my beautiful dog. Isn't it, boy? Do you know, the other thing that makes it difficult when you're making a decision about your staffy in particular, or your bull breed, is that bull breeds will just go on until they die. So, you know, they might look all active, vibrant, but the time when you can really see that they're in discomfort is when they settle down, right? They're going to sleep, or they're laying down, where they're not active anymore, they're not in drive, and they start licking everywhere on their body. They start shaking their head. That's the time when you really can see the discomfort in your dog, especially with bull breeds. So that's what made it difficult for me to make the decision as well, because I think he's so, like, look, he can still walk, he's still lively, you know what I mean? Maybe there's hope, but every time I see him doing that, the hope just drains out of me, you know. So yeah, this is the last day. The other thing I wanted to say, right, is letting go of your dog obviously is heartbreaking, right? But what I'm finding is when I think, because there's positive and negative to everything, isn't there? So when I start thinking about the positive, like he's not going to be in pain, discomfort anymore, I don't really know if he's in pain. I'm just assuming if he has got irritable bowel, then he probably is. But he's definitely in discomfort, that's for definite. He's not going to have to suffer these lesions. He's not going to have to suffer me cleaning his ear about 3 times a day, the irritation in his ear. He's not going to have to suffer anymore. That's the big positive thing with this, you know. And then I think about, obviously he's going to go and he's going to be a little orb. He's going to be a little spirit. He's going to have a chance to have a break from being a being, a physical being. And then I think about my own situation, the emotional stress and trauma that I've had over the last 2.5 years, and that is going to be obviously gone. So I just start to think about all the positive things about it instead of all the negative things, because when I sit down and think about the negative things, I start to feel really lonely. So that's what I would say if you are losing your dog. I know it's difficult, but just try that. It might help, you know. So he's with his famous ball. It's half an hour, 45 minutes, sorry, before we go into the vet, and I thought I'd give him his time with his ball. Once a staffy, always a staffy.